Hello darlings, I just thought I'd jump on here and let you all know where I've been. Just wanted to say I'm officially back now, back to the regular uploads. I haven't been posting for a while because I've been so stressed out with university, and a few weeks ago I got COVID. Thankfully my symptoms were pretty mild and only lasted a week, and then as soon as I was better from COVID I went back to see my family because my sister had a little baby boy. He's absolutely adorable. The video that you're about to watch was actually filmed on the day that I got COVID. I had no idea, but that afternoon when I went to dancing I obviously got COVID. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the video and get ready for some exciting videos to come. So a couple of days ago I asked you all on Instagram if you had any questions or things you wanted to chat about. I've got quite a few responses, so I might not be able to get through them all, but I will try my best. Any tips for doing 1950s hairstyles? I really need some. There are heaps of hairstyles that you can do without curling your hair, and I would definitely suggest checking out Marla von Duter over on Instagram. She has lots of different cartoons that she draws, and she shows different hairstyles and like a breakdown step by step how to do them, and they're very easy. Anyone can do them. She's a great artist and she has some very cute hairstyles, so I would definitely recommend checking her out. I'll leave her Instagram on the screen here so you can go have a look. But most of all, just practice. I've got my rollers on underneath here, my foam rollers, and I don't do this all the time, especially when I'm busy studying at home. I don't curl my hair at home, but when I do go to uni I do try and make it a little bit nice, but you know, sometimes I don't even get to do that if I'm wearing my boring old nursing uniform, which isn't vintage by the way, I wish. Now Lily's asked me, one of my best friends from high school, how are you? Tell me about your life lately. Miss you, beautiful. I miss you too, Lily. I'm actually coming back home for a week, so I'll catch up with you then. And another question is, what do you plan on remodeling next? I don't know. There are so many things that I want to change, but I don't want to do a huge renovation because we may or may not be moving from here because this is not our house. So potentially not a huge renovation, but maybe just small adjustments here and there. So at the moment I'm kind of midway through changing up the living room. I am hopefully going to make a video about that, but that will be in a little bit. This question's really good and I'll actually just do it right now. Can you show us how you tie your scarf for bed? It's very easy. Usually scarves come in a triangle, but this scarf that I have here is a really long rectangle. I just put it over the back of my head and just tie it up. It's actually not science at all. It's just very easy. I put it here, and then I put it here, and then I literally tie it in a knot. But I've got all of my loose hair in it at the moment. But I literally tie it up and then maybe tie it again, and it's pretty much done. So I don't know whether you've noticed, am I in crisp quality? Do I look any different? Do these cameras look different? I've got two cameras now. I have a new camera, which is really cool. I've been wanting to upgrade my camera for a while now. I feel like maybe a year I've wanted to, you know, have a nicer quality camera, because the one that I've been using is just like a vlogging camera, which is actually perfect for when I'm filming day in the life. Oh my. This camera that I've got is not that much bigger, but really nice quality. So it's very exciting and hopefully you can see a difference. The funny thing is the viewfinder is on the side, so if I'm looking over there, that's because I'm looking at the viewfinder and I can see me there. But the other camera, the viewfinder was above, so it wasn't as obvious. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but hopefully you guys will be getting a better quality video from it. I was kind of thinking for my hairstyle of maybe doing a bit of an updo and having these nice tight curls up. We'll see how we go. What type of nursing do you want to specialize in? I'm not really sure at the moment because I've only been on one placement so far. I haven't got to experience all different types of nursing. It could be really interesting to work in pediatrics, and another thought that I've had is it could be really interesting going out and doing a rural placement in the middle of Australia. I think that could be very cool. Someone says, do you have plans to buy a home of your dreams? Of course I have a plan to buy a home of my dreams. We haven't found it yet, but yes, I would love to buy a cute little dream house eventually. I would definitely want to do some renovating. So I wouldn't want to buy a perfect house. I would want to get something that's a little bit neglected and in need of some tender loving care. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these front sections down and then pick up the rest of my hair. I'm going to look like I'm in the Regency era. Okay, so we're forming a high ponytail on our head, and then we're going to bring the sides up and give it a little bit of a twist and grab a bobby pin and pin in place. So this will end up being a part of the mess on here, and then we will like place it so it looks lovely. So what I'm going to do is grab a hairnet and cover all of this crazy hair up. Look at that, so neat. Alright, and you can kind of pull out the sides. I'm going to tease the front bit of hair just to give it a little bit of volume. Right, I did my fringe off camera because it was just a little bit tricky, but I've just pinned that in place and I pushed the bobby pin underneath the hair so you can't see it. And then hairspray. Oh, someone's asked, where did you put your new couch? Also, how are the chickies doing? The couch is in the living room and it's right near our dining table. Like I said before, I am going to be showing a progression of the living room and how it's come along and what I'm changing about it and what pieces of furniture that I'm bringing in, but I'm not going to reveal too much. And how are the chickens doing? They're doing very well. They're good. They don't make too much of a racket, except Maud will kind of go a little bit nuts when Mabel goes in to lay her egg. I don't do a lot for makeup, so I'm just going to go in with my concealer, Besame's blush, some lipstick as well, and some eyebrow pencil. If you've ever watched any of my other videos, I used to use eyeshadow for my eyebrows, but I finally got an eyebrow pencil. You should be proud of me. Another question is, when will you share more recipes? Season 3 of Dining Through the Decades is coming up very soon. I put a post on my YouTube community page and asked what decade you thought, and some of you got it right. It's the 1930s. We're going down through the decades. I might come back to the 60s and do that, but I thought there might be quite similar foods from the 50s and 60s. So I thought, let's go down further, let's go into the Great Depression, let's have a look at some of these recipes and get cooking. Another question is, what's your favourite part about living vintage? I don't live completely vintage. I definitely live a very modern life, but in a vintage style. I wear vintage clothes, I have vintage furniture, but I watch TV, I love a good binge watch, and I've got cameras, I film on cameras, I have a phone, so I don't completely live a vintage lifestyle, and I can't imagine not having a vintage wardrobe or having beautiful pieces of furniture around me that have so much history. I think that's really beautiful, and that's something that I absolutely love about vintage style. Someone said, if Shirley Temple and Lily James had a baby, she'd look like you. Thank you, that's a really nice compliment. I love Shirley Temple and Lily James is very beautiful, so I'm very flattered. Thank you. How was life going for you, and did you have a job before nursing school? Lots of love. Lots of love to you also. Before nursing school, I didn't have a job. I was actually in between universities. So I started a degree in nutrition, and halfway through that, I didn't feel like it was the right path for me. So I stopped that, and that was during COVID. It was when we were all in lockdown, and I was like, oh, what am I gonna do with my time? I don't have a job. Why don't I have a go at YouTube? And I just started it as a hobby, and I don't think I expected anything to come of it. And what do you know? Here I am today, and this is my job, and it's amazing, and I would not be here without all of you, so I'm very thankful. I sometimes like to put a little bit of blush on my eyelids just to add a little bit of color. Not professional. I am no makeup artist, so it's just something that I do that I feel like adds a little bit to the vintage look. What are the most reliable sources of 1950s information that you like to use? Two websites that I really like for vintage information is Vintage Dancer and Glamour Days. They have some really great information on there, and I usually gravitate towards their websites when I am researching for something in particular. They're mainly the two websites that I use for vintage information. Someone's asked, what is your favorite perfume? You know what? I'm still on the search for my favorite perfume, but I am going in the right direction because I bought myself a beautiful old perfume bottle, and it works. It has a gorgeous little tassel on it. So I'm very excited to add some beautiful perfume in there. I feel like I will probably go for some sort of vintage rose perfume or maybe a lily perfume. So someone said, I tried vintage style and felt like it ages me, so I stopped. Might I have been doing it wrong? Sometimes you can wear different items of clothing that can look a little bit more grandma than you like. Obviously the goal is to look a little bit like our glamorous grandmas, but you can wear certain clothes that make you look like an elderly grandma. I guess maybe going for a bit of a younger vintage style instead of an adult vintage style. That might help with looking a little bit more your age rather than looking too old. So yeah, maybe getting something like a nice full skirt with a cinched in waist, and if that's not your jam, you can get a pair of nice trousers. And when you are picking out your blouses, if you feel like they are a little bit too grandma, maybe try wearing some sort of sweater top or something that is a little bit more timeless, something that you can wear today that you might have worn back then as well. I hope that helps. If you have any more questions about that, just send me a direct message and I'll try and help you out. Also, James and I are going dancing after this. We used to go swing dancing every Monday night, but unfortunately with COVID, it's pretty much been stopped or a little bit on and off for like 2 years. So it's very exciting, it's back on again, and I'm ready to do some swing outs. Woo! Someone said, how do you balance YouTube and college? I can barely balance college alone. Honestly, I don't know. Usually when I get very busy, I just have to put off a video and prioritize on my studies instead of YouTube. And usually when I am very busy, I don't have a couple of days extra in my week to edit a video. So I will hand that off to James and he will edit my videos during the semester. He's amazing and I very much appreciate having him there to do that. So he's a gem. Someone said, I think you're vegetarian, but James isn't, ? How do you plan meals for the two of you? Honestly, it's not that complicated. James is very happy with having vegetarian meals. So we might have a mainly vegetarian meal and then he might add a little bit of protein of his choice and I'll add a bit of protein of my choice. Someone said, have you ever considered wearing clothes from another era, like changing your style? Honestly, not at the moment. I really like the style that I've chosen, the 40s and 50s. 60s style is nice. I have a few pieces, but I tend to find the eye makeup looks very dramatic on me for some reason. I don't know whether it's that I have brown eyes. I know that shouldn't make it look too dramatic because I know heaps of people have brown eyes that wear a lot of eye makeup, but it just scares me. Honestly, a 60s look scares me on my face, but on someone else, I love it. And don't forget to blot your lips with a tissue. Alright, so my hair's all done, my makeup is all done. So my outfit for today is a little red short sleeve sweater and my new Freddy's of Pinewood jeans. I just bought them and I've been wanting a nice pair of reproduction jeans for so long. These are the jeans of my dreams. Honestly, they're amazing. You'll see when I put them on. But they're so comfy as well. I just never want to take them off. But before I put on my outfit, I'm going to answer a couple more questions. Another question is, are you dropping any more merchandise? Love you. Love you too. Not at the moment. I haven't really decided what else I'd like to do, but I may be doing some merchandise for Dining Through the Decades, but I haven't fully decided yet, but I will let you know. Were you anxious or self-conscious when deciding to start a YouTube channel? Because it was in the middle of lockdown, I wasn't going out or seeing anyone that I usually did, and no one really knew about my channel. But something that did make me feel a little bit nervous was when I started to get a few more followers on Instagram. It was just really weird moving from everyone that followed me knew me to everyone that followed me, I didn't know them, but I guess everyone felt like they knew me, which is kind of like what it is on YouTube. but that was really weird. That fully weirded me out. Another question is, how do you find the decade vintage style that suits your persona? I cannot decide. I feel you. It's hard to decide. I don't think I fully knew when I started of what decade I liked, and it took me a little bit as well. Just go through different decades and just have a look at what styles you really like. And it might not be one decade, it might be from a couple of different decades. You might like the upper half, you know, the blouses and the dresses from the 30s, but you might like more of a 60s bottom half, mini skirts and a little bit more younger style. Go through lots of pictures until you find something that just instantly clicks with you. You just know, oh, that's gorgeous, I love that. That fits your personality. If you like it, it works. You always seem so positive. Do you have negative days? And if so, how do you overcome them? 100% I have negative days, especially when you've got a lot on your plate. There are lots of days where I just don't feel very positive and like the world is on my shoulders, and that's okay to have those days. It is a hard thing when you do feel down in the dumps to try and pick yourself up and, you know, be really positive about it, but just know that it's okay to have those days and just take a bit of me time and relax and put things into perspective. So it's okay, it happens to the best of us. What's your favorite thing to do in your spare time? Also love you in your videos. Thank you. Something that I've really been getting into lately is gardening. I love gardening. It's just really nice being able to get out, especially when I'm inside studying all the time and editing videos, and to just get out and be in nature and breathe in the fresh air and plant some beautiful flowers, and also hanging out with the chickens. That's a really nice addition to doing the gardening in the backyard. Yeah, so that's probably my favorite thing to do in my spare time. Do you often wear period-specific undergarments to achieve the silhouette? Yes, I do. Originally, when I started dressing in a vintage style, I didn't have any authentic vintage undergarments, but I actually found a bra that looked vintage from my local store in Australia called Big W, and totally unexpected. I never thought I would find something like that there, but I found a really cute bra, and I have like 4 or 5 of them, and they just really fit the silhouette. They give you a really natural shape without being a push-up or a rounded cup like today. Sorry for all the guys watching if that's too much information, but yeah, it's a bit more of a pointed shape, which is what they wore in the 40s and 50s. I have recently just got a vintage long line bra, and it's perfect for the silhouette. Someone has said, are there really a lot of spiders in Australia, or is it just a stereotype? It's not just a stereotype. There are a lot of spiders. It's mainly when you go outside, but there are some that do come inside. Some of the most common spiders here, especially inside, are called daddy long legs, and they actually can't hurt you. So they might look scary on the wall, but they're harmless. Love your style. What is your go-to dinner to make? My go-to dinner to make is probably nachos, because it's one of the easiest meals to make, and it's something that my mum taught me when I was really young, and it's just a meal that I gravitate towards, and James is actually really good at making it. He's much better at it than me. Which vintage icons have you been most inspired by? Probably Rita Hayworth. I love her hair, it's amazing. And a young Marilyn Monroe, Norma Jean. She had beautiful hair as well. I feel like it's a nice mix of Norma Jean's casual style with a bit of glamour from Rita Hayworth. I love them both, and they're definitely my fashion icons. How do you find the right red lipstick depending on your complexion? So I bought my first red lipstick 4 or 5 years ago, and it was like a really cheap brand, and I didn't know anything about red lipstick, and I just thought, oh, you know, I really want to try and wear a red lip, and I bought it and it looked hideous. It was so bad, and I was like, I am never wearing red lipstick again. It's awful. So yes, you need to make sure you find something that is good for your complexion. So my proper first lipstick that I bought was from Besame Cosmetics, and it was in the shade Red Velvet, and they actually advertise that shade is suitable for all complexions. It has something to do with the underlying hue in it. I don't know whether it's blue or purple, I can't remember, but it just suits pretty much every skin type. The Red Velvet is very similar to the lipstick that I'm wearing, but it's a little bit more brighter. This one that I have on is by Besame as well, and it's in the shade Cherry Red. How to dress vintage and look neither costumey nor older than you are. So kind of like I mentioned before with not dressing too old, is maybe choosing some styles that are a little bit younger for those decades that you're trying to replicate. And to not look too costumey, try and go for natural colors. Don't get something that's really, really bright. Try and go for more neutrals and look for photos from whatever era you're interested in. All the stuff that they wore didn't look costumey, obviously. So it's just a matter of picking wisely colors and fabrics that are a bit more classic and elegant and don't come off as like a costume. And quickly, what's your favorite liquid cover up to use? I assume you're meaning my concealer, and the stuff that I use is from, what is it called? Too Faced Born This Way concealer. So you can kind of use it like for everything, highlighting, except I don't do that because I'm a little old lady. I just use concealer. I don't use foundation really besides powder. I love that concealer. I've pretty much tried to go through everything and answered as many questions as I could. Thank you all so much for having a chat with me and putting in your questions and stuff to talk about. I appreciate you all so much. But before I go, let me just put on my outfit. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye! Is this still recording?